You started when they said, I corner win. You fixed home haircuts and dye disasters. And with QuickBooks, you're in the know. Even when the world turns upside down, you dollar what you must to make that cash flow. Because you're small business tough with the advantage of QuickBooks. Save time with QuickBooks Smart, up-to-date business insights so you never have to slow down to make informed decisions. Learn more at quickbooks.co.za.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Willem van der Post, and I have the honor of hosting today's Software Showdown, where we've got three representatives of three industry-leading pieces of software that are going to talk to us about their products and what they represent, but with a slight twist. Today's format will include me doing a quick introduction of everyone that we've got online. You can see them on screen. I'll ask them to wave in the background, and I'll introduce them in a second. But essentially, these software representatives today are going to get three questions for which they've had absolutely no prep, because the only one that knows what's going to get asked is me. Second to that, we're going to ask the audience to actually participate in today's showdown and pose some question to these representatives where they will have limited amounts of time to answer these questions. And then lastly, we hope the gloves will come off for this part, we're going to have the representatives quiz each other in US presidential debate type style. And we're very certain that something is going to go wrong in this twisted way of dealing with Software Showdown. But we hope that the user is going to get value out of this today. And so without further ado, let me introduce the representatives just real quick. I'll ask them to wave and just say hello. We've got Nadine. Nadine, quickly tell us your last name, where you are from, and who you represent.
I'm Nadine Chetty. I'm a co-founder of Ecom Accounting Solutions, and I'm representing QuickBooks today, and I'm from Pretoria.
Wonderful, Nadine. Thank you very much. Nice to see you again. Celeste, the same for you, please.
Hi, Willem. I'm Celeste Summerton, business owner of the Business Boutique based in Johannesburg, and I look forward to today.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Celeste, and welcome.
And I represent Sage, sorry.
And the reason for why we are representing Sage, of course. Thank you, Celeste. And then my namesake, who I feel has an automatic advantage in today because he has such a great name, Willem Haroff. Willem, tell us quickly where you are from and who you represent.
Thanks for highlighting that, Willem. Representing Xero, beautiful accounting today. My last name is Haroff. I'm based in the beautiful city of George.
Wonderful. All right, representatives, thank you very much. Please strap on your seatbelts and get ready for this. In terms of digital management of a meeting, I've found that no one knows when to talk next. And everyone starts to talk over one another, and then they kind of back down, and then it's quiet. And so for today, I've had to devise an order in which we'll ask these questions and solicit answers. And I'm going to do it based alphabetically on the numbers with which the software that these people represent starts. And so as it were, we're going to have Nadine first, then we're going to have Celeste, and then Willem, which means that we also automatically tick the box of chivalry, which I like, with two birds with one stone. All right. Now, you as the audience, you're running a business. You might be in a different stage, i.e. all the way from startup up to the point of large-scale enterprise. And somewhere there in the middle sits SME. And I know how it goes because I run a venture capital fund myself, and we oftentimes invest in small entities or early stage entities. And the number one thing we found as an issue is not product or team or go-to-market strategy, it's that their background is in a mess. No one can buy into the company because of this lack of governance and discipline around accounting and basic functionality, which actually is critical business functionality. And so wherever in that series you find yourself, at some point you get to a fork in the road where the box full of receipts and Excel stuff has now got to mature into a formalized business process. And now you've got some choices. Which software package do I use? And more importantly, how the hell do you choose, given the variety of cloud-based solutions that are out there, different cost structures, unit costs, user costs, and then of course, the very important thing, functionality. And so today's software showdown is to drill down into some of those attributes to help people like yourselves make a choice in terms of fulfilling this critical business function. How this is going to work for the first round, we'll have 3 of these questions. And for the first question, I'm going to give every participant only 90 seconds in which to formulate your answer. So it is a bit hot-footed. I hope you've had your Red Bull like I have had just before this conversation. And then what you will see on screen, ladies and gents, both the participants and audience, is Dennis has got the timekeeper watch icon as a profile picture. And what I've asked him to do, and he's kindly agreed to, is that on every question, he's going to tell us when there's 20 seconds left, and then he'll rudely interrupt when time is up and your elapsed time has evaporated and we need to move to the next section. So this is rapid fire. It will go fairly quickly, and let's get then straight into it. Question number 1. And remember, our order is Nadine, Celeste, Willem. Question number 1. Why should one of these audience members choose to use the product that you represent today? And please don't give us the politically correct answer. Please don't give us business cliches. And for crying out loud, please don't read us the brochure. Talk to us about your conviction around this product. We'll start the clock in a second when we ask Nadine to go, then Celeste to go, and then Willem to go. I'll interject for each of those. And so can I ask Nadine, start the clock.
Okay, so why I think QuickBooks Online is the perfect tool for small business owners. It is so user-friendly. It caters for so many different industries, going from retail to your construction industry, to your advocates, your small lawyers. So it can cater for any different type of industry you really are in. Me, myself, I have a few different industries on it. I actually have a 70-year-old man that is operating his business through his mobile QuickBooks Online application, fully on his phone. So that if that doesn't show you how user-friendly the application is, what else can? So it has an amazing projects functionality, which is free, built into the price. And it's completely, if you buy through an accountant, you get a half price for life. So if you're looking at cost effectiveness, you get that. And it really is an amazing platform to use. You've got amazing AI, which is something that I haven't seen on the other platforms. And it's got amazing dashboards, which is graphical, which an end user, small business owner wants to see. You don't want to see figures, you want to see graphs. And it's pretty, it's got colors, and that is what end users want to see. Your end users aren't accountants. So I think that is where everything ties in. It's just a pretty picture, and it just gives you, it makes you want to do your books.
20 seconds left, please.
It makes you want to enjoy doing your books. Your invoicing functionality is amazing. You get to see when your customer has read your invoice, how many times they've read your invoice. So there's no time to say that your customer has not received their invoice. So you will always get paid as quick as possible. And it has automatic reminders for your invoicing, which most of the tools do have. But
time up. Thank you so much, Nadine.
Okay.
Time up.
Nadine Chetty, maximizing the time and making me feel like an accounting package is something to look forward to. Absolutely well done. The same question holds for Celeste. And Celeste, start the clock.
Okay, hi everybody. So one of the reasons, one of the first reasons I will say, Sage, been around for 30 years. I don't think the other counterparts could say the same as well. Sage is built by SA for SA, okay? Accounting's not pretty. It needs to be compliant and accurate. We've been around forever. We are, we speak to the South African market. Our compliance is exceptionally important to us as well. We pride ourselves in quality of our product, which is very important if you're making a decision to go to a cloud product as well. Support, absolutely excellent. local support, telephone, emails, Sage City, Sage University. It's there for you. And as a business owner, you need that support and you need that, interaction with your product team as well.
20 seconds. Thank you, Celeste.
And then our Sage wants financial stability of our sustainability of our clients, and that's why we've been around for 30 years as well. Thank you very much.
Celeste, well fit into the time there. Nice footwork on the South Africa, for South Africa, by South Africa. I really like that. Local is lekker. And so, Willem, start the clock.
Thanks, guys. So at Go-Getters, we love working with Xero because you don't need a university degree to use the tool. It's super easy. In terms of features, you guys have just proven that there's no differentiation because all the features are the same. The difference with Xero is that it does all the heavy lifting for you so that the team working with the client can spend more time providing them those insights and telling the beautiful story behind the numbers. And so in our view, Xero gives you the best opportunity to humble the accountant and to empower the client, because that is who we want to win.
You've got some time remaining. I mean, you're on such a roll. Do you want to roll up some more? It almost sounds a bit practiced, man. Well done. It's very, very slick delivery. I'm impressed. So one thing that none of you touched on, just as perhaps the first comment around your first set of answers, is pricing. Is that because you are shy of the price and you don't want to scare the users off, or because pricing doesn't feature per se? Talk to us a little bit in 60 seconds only about the pricing of your product, please. And let's go by the same order. Nadine, start the clock.
Okay, so QuickBooks has 3 different pricing structures, starting off at your smaller company, going up to your more needed features. So as I mentioned, if you do go with an accountant, you do get half price. So their biggest package normally sells for 437 Rand per month. I am mentioning Rand. I do know that some other packages don't offer Rand pricing. So what is amazing that you're getting a package that is 437 Rand, but if you go through an accountant, which is going to guide you and give you that support, you're getting it for half the price. So going one down, you would pay a little bit less than that, and you would get it for half the price of that. So any package you choose, you're going to get it for half the price if you go through an accountant. But I mean, if you're going to pay 237 Rand, that is the price of Sage's product. And that is a full-blown product if you take it through an accounting package, through an accounting professional.
That's what I mean. Thank you very much. Well fit into the time again. Time management, obviously a critical skill. Celeste, let's hear from you and start the clock.
Okay, so I mean, I think we're going to be the winners here. Our product sits at 290. Like Nadine said, their product sits at 493. And then, I'm very sorry, Willem. Like I said in the last thing, Randelas. We all know where we're going at the moment, especially with COVID. The dollar's just not working for us right now. So sorry, I think we're the winner here.
Talking up a fight. That is definitely fighting talk. Willem, the clock starts now.
Awesome. Thanks very much. So again, my 2 colleagues here have just proven that the accounting software packages will sell well on an auction, but I don't think, Willem, that you are here as an auctioneer. So if you are interested in getting the cheapest solution, go for it, be my guest. We unapologetically drive the value that Xero offers, and we know that the fee that you pay for it is more than commensurate with the value that you get. In fact, the value will be multiples of the price that you pay within the first hour that you start to use it. We've experienced with it, and that is why we continue to see an influx of ex-QuickBooks Online users and Sage Online users coming to ask for Xero conversion.
30 seconds left.
Willem, what I'm hearing you say, there's a lot of accounting package ROI as regards price and functionality. So we'll test that a little bit. And perhaps with that, then let's shift gears and look to the future a little bit. Saika has recently launched CA 2025 initiatives that have gone public. And we're talking actively about how the role of accountants need to change in accordance with fourth industrial revolution. And so the question now is, will your software package still be worth anything and needed really in 5 years' time when semi-intelligent, automated robotic capabilities exist that facilitate the world of the accountant? I'd like to hear your view on that. You have 60 seconds. Nadine, your clock starts now. You're on mute.
With QuickBooks Online, AI is already completely built in and machine learning, and that is completely seen in the banking center. So accountants using QuickBooks Online is already used to how the software works for them. And with doing that, accountants are now more able to provide advice to their clients and give them more value for their money. We're not seen as compliance officers anymore to just provide compliance. So we use the software to our benefit. Your client doesn't want you to just capture books anymore. And that is what the software is there for. So with the software,
20
helping
seconds
you,
left.
you are able to do much more for your client. And that is where the machine learning comes into play.
Thank you very much. Celeste, let's hear from you. Your clock starts now.
Sorry. So I think I said to you guys just now that Sage has been around for the last 30 years, and we're going to be around for the next 30 years as well. Sage is a global company, and we're adding new features and app partners on a daily basis. You know, it's very, very exciting at the moment. I think I've touched on the support with local support with Sage as well. You know, we sit with their product development team on a bi-monthly basis, looking at what's coming. All I can say to the business owners out there
20 seconds.
and accountants out there, you only have to look at Sage. This is where the future is.
I like that 30 years of history also looks towards the future in a progressive way. Well done. Willem, your clock starts now.
Thank you. So machine learning and artificial intelligence is not a differentiator. All the tools have that inbuilt in. Support is also there, ongoing development, they're all there, so it's not a differentiator. Xero already talks to universities. We're already busy putting the product there to replace what was used before. And in terms of being able to talk to other technology, that's a clear differentiator. QuickBooks Online, Sage are accounting software packages. Xero is an accounting platform that's got open APIs. In other words, it makes its code available so that any other developer out there can develop their own connections with Xero. So any business can scale much quicker with Xero as a platform, building on other apps and other technology to make life easier and to stay with it.
One of the comments that's floating through from our audience feed, which I want to integrate into the moderator's comment around the answers that you've just provided, is great. You are looking towards the future. It sounds like none of these packages are prehistoric and that they don't even know about 4IR. So that's great. But now, Willem actually touched on this, and we'll start with Nadine again. What about integrations where the enterprise that's being accounted for has an ecosystem of multiple pieces of software, each with its own license agreements, that ultimately collectively help in accounting for and analyzing an enterprise? How friendly is your package in terms of talking with other software packages? And does that mean I'm staring down the barrel of more costs because you rely on other ecosystem players to augment your functionality?
Okay, so QuickBooks Online integrates with several different applications. So if you are using other softwares that need to integrate with it, it can, especially with the e-commerce. If you have a Shopify store, it integrates directly. Receipt bank for your slips, it does that. With reporting, it does that too. So it really depends on what you want the system to do. If you do need it to integrate, it can, but you need to look at the cost effectiveness of it. You need to see what your software can do for you to its limits, and how far you can stretch those limits. I mean, as I've mentioned,
20 seconds.
if you have a construction business or project related business, you do not need to go and purchase an entire different software for it, because QuickBooks has that functionality. So it's all about seeing what you really want from the software and seeing if your software can provide that, and that QuickBooks can do.
Time up.
Oh, so finally time snuck in there right on the cusp. Well done again, Nadine. Celeste, your clock starts now.
Thanks, Willem. So I think all of these platforms are open to, eco centers and APIs integrating. And that's why, Willem, I don't think, you mentioned Xero as a platform. I think all of these products have their eco centers. Yes, we have guys that, are our preferred kind of guys that we like to work with. And yeah, so we allow integration. But what's also happening is, with Sage, we speak to our clients as well, and we find out what their needs are.
20 seconds.
And we do look at the pricing, and price is just an element of the value, at the end of the day.
Thank you, Celeste. Willem, I know you've kind of touched on this, but perhaps time to just round off that previous answer. If you have more to add, your clock starts now.
Thank you. I'm glad that my colleagues are starting to refer to accounting platforms as well. That's a step in the right direction. And also the comment about price versus value. So hopefully the value that Sage can offer is a lot more than the 250 Rand that is currently the lowest price out there. But in terms of the integration, the concept of a platform is really how easy it is to integrate. Xero is a single global platform. Sage is not. It's multiple. So you're going to have to pay infinitely more as a company to enable the same amount of integrations that Xero can do. So in terms of the future, I think Xero's got a much better chance to scale and to build on more applications that can integrate with it. Today, already, Xero's got more than 800 apps that it can integrate with. I wonder how many the others got. So maybe we can explore that question a bit later.
Willem, can I just say something there?
Oh, rebuttal time.
Xero.
So let's ask you to save the rebuttal just for a second, or to work it in your next 60 seconds.
Cool.
We are a little bit ahead of schedule, and with this concept of ecosystem, future looking, someone has already mentioned AI and machine learning. Let me ask you this. As regards the changes in the world, how compatible is the platform or package that you are representing today as regards things like cryptocurrency? Only for 30 seconds. Nadine, your clock starts now.
So with cryptocurrency, it's seen as basically an asset, right? Are you trading with it? It has multi-currency. So basically, if your accounting package can handle something like multi-currency, and it can be used as sort of like inventory in a sense where you are constantly trading with it, or if you're using it as a payment method and you have sort of a little bank which you can trade with it, and your accounting package can handle that and pull in that sort of data, then you shouldn't have a problem. And the way that QuickBooks Online works, because it is such a global platform,
20 seconds.
You can sit here and work on someone's books in America. So who's to say that you can't pull in a PayPal account? So if you can pull in a PayPal account, you can pull in a cryptocurrency account. So the sky is the limit.
Nadine, thank you very much. Celeste, your clock starts now.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, I think Nadine's touched on those points as well. I think if you can integrate with any kind of, if you have multi-currency, which our platforms does have, if you can pull in a PayPal account, a bank account, and whatever, there shouldn't be a problem. with bringing in cryptocurrency into your books.
Thank you, Celeste. Willem, man of the future, your time starts now.
Cryptocurrencies, what's that? I see this as a process issue first. Secondly, as a technology issue. So if your processes are sorted out, as my colleagues have said, I'm not going to disagree with them on this one. It's a debit and a credit, multi-currency, and if you've got open API, you can even become a little bit more sophisticated with how you interact with whatever platform you're using.
Right, thank you very much, contestants. At this stage, I would just like to thank the audience who is keeping the chat box alive. I've actually never been on a webinar where I've seen this much of traffic flowing through an audience participation, and that is absolutely wonderful to see. Please keep it coming, because pretty soon I'm going to have to select some of the questions that you've posed in the chat to the participants, which means that none of us have seen them before. I'm going to ask one more question, which I think touches on some of the feed that I'm seeing on the screen over here, but it was prepared in terms of my preparation at least. And oftentimes when you're in for the purchase, the brochure looks great, the salesman or the representative does a fantastic job of punting the product. You install the thing, you update iOS 14, and now nothing works. So, contestants, talk to us about the support function associated with your product. Are we looking down the barrel of talking with a dreaded call center, or a chatbot that is so stupid that it doesn't know the difference between your first name and your last name and basically tries to hand off back to the dreaded call center every time it hits a dialogue cool the suck? Talk to us about your philosophy and your methodology of supporting users that have now made this critical choice in the juncture of their business to select your product. Nadine, your clock starts now.
Okay, so in our firm, we look at it in a few ways, right? With QuickBooks Online as a product, it does have a 3-tier support system. One is obviously the local support, which is available to assist you. If you cannot get through, or they cannot assist you with something that's quite high level, they will revert you to the UK support. And obviously UK time with ours is quite similar. Then with that, you also get an in-system support where you can take a screenshot and upload it, and they will be able to assist you with your problem that you're having in product. But we also look at it in our firm differently. We provide training and support to our clients. So if your client is having a problem, they would come to us and say, okay, we're having a problem with this, we're having a problem with that. And because we have given them the training and we are skilled enough, we then provide them with that support. So they don't need to go to the support center that often.
Thank you, Nadine. Well done on the timing again. I feel like you have a clock at hand and you're watching it. I don't know how you're doing it, but well done. Celeste, your clock starts now.
Okay, so I think one of the big advantages of Sage is our support that we offer, local support. I absolutely love Peg. So Peg is our little, robot that we speak to. If Peg can't answer your questions, it directs you straight through to Sage City, Sage University. But the big benefit that I think we have here is that we can still speak to humans. So we do have a call center, we can pick up the phone. And what's amazing is that we have an amazing group of support team members at Sage, from product development, and and you can pick up that phone and you can speak to a human, which is, I don't think the other guys are going to beat us on this one.
Celeste, blending the wonderful harmony between machines that do the 80-20 and humans that deliver the creativity and the touch. Nicely done. Willem, your clock starts now.
Thank you. In April this year, we implemented Xero for 6 companies within a group. It was a family-run business, and within 6 weeks after doing intense training, we were able to get the owner of the business, who's not an accountant, to handle 80% of the day-to-day bookkeeping and accounting. And as a consequence, they are able to cut about 70% of the monthly accounting fee. Now that's real value. And Xero is so easy to use that the level of support they required subsequently was almost negligible. The few cases where they did require support, the first level was to contact us as the humans, because we would not peg their attention to a bot that we want to first come to us. And then if we can't solve the problem, we do that interaction on their behalf directly with the support center, who's available 24/7, doesn't matter where in the world, because they've got 3 teams that's sitting in different geographical locations.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Willem. And now, as you participants have been talking, I've been preparing for the next section in this software showdown with a twist. A lot of the questions that are coming through on my feed are yes/no questions. And so what I'm going to do is ask you some yes/no questions in rapid fire. And we'll just cycle through them. I've got about 8 here. And with this time, I'm not going to let Willem prepare while he listens to Natalie and Celeste giving him good ideas on how to answer. I'm going to twist it around and say the order is now reversed. It is now Willem, then Celeste, and then Nadine. So let's start with some yes/no questions. And if you must elaborate, 10 seconds max is the time that you have. So our clock keeper is going to be sharp and on his feet here. The first one, does your accounting package integrate or utilize blockchain technology?
I don't know.
At least he's honest.
Yeah.
Celeste?
I don't know.
Honesty prevails. Nadine?
I also don't know.
This is a question for the accounting package.
We are noting it. We are noting it.
That question came up twice in the chat. So I do actually, think that on a serious note, I do think that there's something to look at there. Specifically as regards immutability, irrefutability, and longevity of record keeping. Definitely something to look at. Thank you for who posed that question. Much appreciated. Second one, how do you deal with legislative updates that impact accounting and record keeping? Willem?
That's not a yes/no question, right?
Depends on how you want to deal with your users at this stage, sir.
Yes, it can be dealt with. Call me for a meeting, we discuss.
Thank you. Celeste?
Yes, it's there.
Wonderful. Nadine, I'm guessing you're not going to say no.
Definitely not. It's definitely there.
All right. Perhaps a 15-second timekeeping question on rapid fire. How do you deal with take-on balances and migration from whatever inferior package was used before onto your superior package, given things like chart of account differences, terminology and taxonomy differences, and running balances? How do you deal with that? And I suppose the question is aiming at what is the ease of migration? Willem?
Ease of migration, very high. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's 15. You've got multiple options. You can do an iron curtain method, so you just bring in opening balances. That takes less than an hour to do if all the data is up to date. There's also other tools that you can use to bring in historical transactional data. Or if you've got no starting point, you can just plug and play, and with under less than an hour, you can start to use the tool. Very easy.
Time up.
Wow, well played on time. Celeste?
Okay, so yeah, I agree with Willem. So you can bring in opening balances as well. You can bring in opening balances via Excel, or we have a conversion tool where we convert our clients from QuickBooks and Xero.
Thank you very much. Nadine?
Okay, QuickBooks Online has a full conversion tool. So we normally ask the client whether they want to do a full conversion or take on opening balances. Sometimes I prefer taking on opening balances because you don't take on all the garbage and then you can do some restructuring. So yeah, full conversion, opening balances, depends which one you prefer, but I prefer opening balances and you keep the garbage where it is.
Thank you, Nadine. I like that. The next one is a probably yes and number answer. And that is, do you allow for multiple companies in a profile to be managed? And if so, what's the limit? Willem?
No limit. You can have unlimited companies on your platform with one username. So you log in, how many ever companies you've got linked to your username, you can toggle between them at will.
Thank you. Celeste?
Unlimited as well.
Thank you, Celeste. Nadine?
Unlimited as well. One easy login and you get to see all your clients and you can switch between all your companies and you get to switch between them at any time.
An immediate follow-up question that popped through from Saida Suleiman says, that's great. Do you also pay infinitely for your infinite number of companies? Willem.
You pay for value. So it's like going to a shop. If you want to buy a Coke, you're not going to expect to pay 10 cents for Coke because you won't get a Coke. It's as simple as that.
That sounds like an imputed yes. Celeste.
Such a nice question. And yeah, one of the reasons, if you're going to have multiple companies, definitely a way to go. Because yes, you do pay per company, but if it's, you know, if it's cost effective, it's the way to go.
Thank you, Celeste. Nadine.
Okay, I have good news. You do pay per company, but if you have a really, really large amount of companies, you can speak to QuickBooks and they might be able to squeeze in a little bit of a discount.
Sounds to me like QuickBooks is in the business of making a deal. All right. Now, the issue that's come up 3 times. What is the actual price? Because we've all spoken of it in principle, but no one's actually put some numbers. I think actually Nadine tried to put some numbers on the table within a range, but let's get just a bit more granular because at this stage, a lot of people are saying functionality sounds good. Some pluses and minuses that they're hearing teased out of this conversation, but just, we are accountants, price-wise. What are we talking about? Give us the pre-seed version of your pricing structure, please. Willem.
So Xero, the standard option is $30 per month. That gives you all the functionality, unlimited users, unlimited transactions. The only limitation is the multi-currency processing capability. If you want to add that, you pay another $10 per month. So that's the maximum of $40 per month. As an accountant who supports Xero, we've got access to different kind of packages. For example, there's a cash book option that does not have invoicing, for example. There we go down to $12 a month. Or if you're a trust or a property company with no bank account, we can go as low as $3 per month. So unlike what may have been popularly known out there, there's various different pricing levels and lots of flexibility. The key question is, what value are you going to gain and how quickly?
Thank you, Willem. At some point, we'll circle back to you on a company that doesn't want to invoice and how you expect to collect $12 from them, because I think they're going to run out of money after funding. But we will leave that for a gin and tonic in George later this month. Celeste,
that's good.
Your time starts now.
Okay, so in terms of a startup company that comes to Sage, it's 160 Rand. But if you want to get full accounting functionality, it's 290 Randellas per company.
Thank you, Celeste, for putting a flat number on that. We hope that the Rand dollar does not curtail some of the other dollar-based pricing structures. Nadine, your time starts now.
Okay, so as I mentioned, we have 3 pricing structures. I'm just going to read, so I'm not going to look at the screen. So the simple starts at $229, but again, if you go through an accounting partner, you get it for half the price of that. Your essentials package starts at $350. Well, it is $351. You get half of that, and your plus package is 473 Rand, and you get half of that if you go through an accounting partner. So your simple start has 1 user, essentials has 3 users, and your plus has 25 users. Yeah, and obviously they each have their own different features built in.
Thank you very much. The next one is a yes, no again, and that is, does your package support multiple bank accounts? Willem.
Yes.
Les.
Yes.
Nadine.
Yes.
Excellent. I've got someone asking what a Randella is. And for bonus points, anyone can answer that question. Fingers on the buzzers. Just a joke. All right. Then the last one from the audience before I'll switch gears. While you answer, I'll look for something that's pertinent in there. Talk to us just a little bit about training and certification and whether or not that functionality is embedded within your software package or associated with your software vendor. Willem.
So Xero has always pushed the idea of human-to-human interaction and the idea of beautiful, easy accounting. They're the leaders in that field. And it's therefore no surprise that they've always made tons of content, online content available to anybody. And in actual fact, you can also become a Xero certified advisor for free. You don't need to pay for it. In addition to that, there's what they call the Xero Learn platform, and that is essentially the tool that we're currently using to convince the universities to change their curriculum. And you may know that the University of Johannesburg has already gone public with that change. They've already adopted Xero as part of their curriculum, and the other universities will follow shortly. So definitely the leader as far as learning and development and people development is concerned.
Thank you, Willem. Celeste.
Yeah, I think our accountants get their training, free as well. But we have online training on Sage University. We've got our own university, and we offer training on Sage University. You guys should really go check it out.
Thank you, Celeste. Nadine.
Okay, I think with QuickBooks Online, what is so amazing is, yes, we do have certification and so many different types of certifications is the main one. And obviously there's smaller ones. But what is so nice is QuickBooks gives back to accountants and end users. So they have small throughout the year that they will talk and help you through different areas in your business. And that's what really gives value. So on top of the amazing cheap price that you get, you also get really added value onto everything. So I actually have a 2-hour QuickBooks Online full training video on YouTube, for example. So with that training that you get as an accountant, you also get those added little videos that they're for free, and a full training center at your fingertips and full how-to videos throughout the site.
All right, so contestants, thank you very much. I've got one more product spec type question before we go into the lemony twist part of this entire software showdown, where you will be posing questions to one another. And I fully anticipate it to get very unpolitically correct. But before we head in that direction, let me take one more last comment from, I think it was Gottfried, who had asked about payroll capabilities. And in this case, Celeste, I'm going to mix up the order and ask you to go first. What are the payroll capabilities? Are they integrated, and do I pay extra for that? Your time starts now.
I'm so glad you asked that question. So yes, we have Sage payroll. Sage, more than 80% of our staff in South Africa get paid with a Sage product, whether it be a VIP or a different kind of Sage product. But I would say in terms of these guys, again, Sage is the leader when it comes to payroll. Very nice example as well, when COVID struck and we had all the TERS funding, we were the first to jump on, get all the legislation updates out there, and yeah, it just worked for us.
Wonderful, thank you, Celeste. Willem?
So Xero as a platform, it can integrate with almost over 800 apps, as I've mentioned before. So there's at least 3 different payroll solutions you can use in South Africa: PaySpace, Simple Pay, and there's a new one that was just released, Hello HR. So you've got choice. You're not limited to only one product, which is what Sage specializes in. And even if you want to go beyond the borders of South Africa and you want to go and look at the rest of Africa, other African countries, something like PaySpace can operate in almost all of the other African countries. So you've again got massive flexibility, ability to scale your business, so that if you scale, you don't have to change from Sage to Xero. You can just stay on Xero from the beginning.
Willem, just not to dig deeper into your answer per se, but just in terms of the question, does that therefore mean that you pay for whatever third-party integration you use in addition to paying for Xero?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, great. Thank you. Nadine.
Okay, so as Willem said, we have PaySpace and Simple Pay, which integrates, but that also means that, again, as you go through an accounting partner, which is your person that you go to, and you don't do everything on your own, you get preferential pricing. So yes, you're adding it on, but you do get better pricing with it. So it is value adding. And it doesn't mean that something that has been there for ages and years is better. We've seen now that legacy softwares are slowly fading away. And I think that is going now, is that things that have been there for really long, yes, everybody's used to using it, but slowly things are changing, and slowly people are realizing that these new age technologies are sometimes a little bit better and a bit more, got a bit more technology built into them, and it's got more scalability and a bit more global reach to them. And QuickBooks does integrate, sorry, to answer the question, integrates with Simple Pay and PaySpace.
And so then by the same token, those integrations would be for the cost of the user in addition to what the base accounting package or platform has. Is that correct?
Yes, but you as an accountant could include it in your global price that you charge your client. So it all depends on how you want to structure your pricing to your client.
I see. All right. Okay, participants, there are a lot of questions on the chat, which I will encourage you to look at subsequently. We have a limited amount of time, and I think the audience is now warmed so nicely that the questions are just flooding, but they're very functionality-focused type questions, which I think perhaps you might choose to address when we give you an opportunity for closing comments a little bit later, closer to the end of the session. But now, I think this is the part that a lot of people have been waiting for. No moderator. We're now going to go into something that no one has done on an accounting software showdown ever before. And this is that the participants are going to formulate questions to pose to one another. This is entirely unscripted from my end. The organizers have no idea what's about to happen. I'm a little bit nervous, specifically of them. But let's see what comes out of this. I'm going to give the first opportunity to pose question to Celeste. And then I'll ask Nadine to answer first and Willem to answer thereafter, to which Celeste can rebut, should she so choose. But now, ladies and gents, you can see that this is a slippery slope. If I let that go, we don't know when this will end. And so the rebuttal, I'm going to limit in time and limit to a single iteration. So let's start with Celeste's question. Now, they did know that this was going to happen, but they didn't tell us what the questions were going to be. So this is now going to be a surprise for all of us. Celeste, can I ask you to pose your question, and then we'll have Nadine answer, and then Willem answer. You get to rebut some of those answers, to which the rebuttee has the opportunity to reply. First Nadine, and then Willem. And then we'll go into the second question. So let's start.
Cool. You ready, Nadine? You ready, Willem? Okay. So what happens if your client outgrows your cloud product?
Nadine,
where do you send them? Where do you send them?
Nadine, your time starts now.
Okay, so if your client ever happens to outgrow, which probably won't happen in QuickBooks Online because it is such a scalable product, that is where your add-in integrations come in. As I mentioned, if you have a big inventory company or a big online store, you've got Shopify, which is easily integratable into your app. They are huge e-commerce stores that are running on Shopify that can be easily integrated into QuickBooks Online. So you don't need to go to Sage Intacct, to Sage 500 to run your companies anymore. You can easily run it in QuickBooks Online with your integratable solutions.
20 seconds.
Thank you. Willem, your time starts now.
Great question. Thanks for that, Celeste. So the only time when a client will outgrow Xero is when they start to move in the realms of those that are looking to use SAP or Oracle. Way before they get there, the problem is going to be solved with all the add-ons. And again, they'll be spoiled for choice and variety in each type of function or business vertical. They'll have multiple options to choose from while the platform remains constant, the same bookkeeping general ledger platform. You'll have a problem from a Sage perspective if your client outgrows Sage Online, because then you have to jump from Sage Online to another Sage iteration to another Sage iteration. So that in itself will be a systems change that your clients will have to undergo, which I think will be problematic and it will cause friction.
20 seconds.
Thank you, Willem. Celeste, you now have the opportunity to take some of those answers on board and offer a rebuttal or a comment to which these two participants can then respond.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, you know, we all agreed that these are platforms, you know, and we all have different integrations that we can use in terms of, you know, making up our product more, you know, or scaling the product a little bit more. But, you know, our platforms have these limiting factors. And at the end of the day, I think to both QuickBooks and Xero, they just, you know, they're just not going to be able to scale and to meet their clients' needs when it gets to that. And I think in terms of us then going to a different Sage product, yes, it might be moving to a you know, different product, but it's still the same, you know, business. And that integration is a lot easier.
Thank you, Celeste. Anything from the participants that you choose to respond to that comment?
Nadine, would you like to go first?
Willem, you go first. I will come in afterwards.
So I fundamentally disagree that we are talking about 3 platforms. We only have one platform in this room, and that is Xero, because it's got a single global infrastructure. That's a platform. The other 2 are software packages, because they've got different databases sitting all around the world, many of which probably don't even talk to one another within that same business. So I disagree that it's going to be easy to scale the business if you're on a product of Sage. I'm not so familiar with QuickBooks if that's similar, but I've got a big disagreement there.
Thank you, Willem. Nadine.
Okay, so I think with Sage, I think you'd have to scale quicker with Sage than with Xero and QuickBooks. So you're going to reach your limitations quicker with Sage than you would with your others. So maybe your scalability you would need to reach it with Sage 1 much faster, and you would need to move your software package much quicker with Sage 1 than you would the other 2. The other 2 could take years and years, and you probably would never reach it, because I have seen Sage 1. I mean, I have clients that have moved from Sage 1 to QuickBooks Online, and I have seen its limitations. So I know exactly what its limitations are and where its scalability lacks. So I think that is where the problem lies, and where you would have to scale, because that is how fast Sage 1 would go, and QuickBooks Online wouldn't.
Nadine, thank you. I love that part of I have seen, and it feels to me like
I have seen, yeah.
I have seen the future. I love your passion.
And I must say I've yet to see, but you know, I'll leave it at that.
They will never tell you, they run away.
Participants, thank you very much. We're going to go on with this rotation question style now. I will just alert our organizers that a lot of people are asking for the contact particulars of these representatives. And I think it would be helpful to put some names, email addresses, and contact particulars like cell phones into our chat, so that users and audience members rather are able to contact for maybe more niche questions. I see some stuff coming through that talks about construction, contract accounting, and Forex from historical systems. So it's very functional driven, which I think are important questions, but not necessarily for this forum. Nadine, it is your turn to ask the question of the other 2 participants. Please ask.
Okay, Willem, I have a question for you. And this is regarding your direct feature in Xero, and it is around your cash coding and your banking feature. And it is around the lack of AI in your area. So with your banking feature, I do know that you can only match in your reconciliation screen, and you can only cash code separately. So how is your efficiencies seen in that area, where QuickBooks Online, you can match and cash code in the same screen, which makes working much more efficiently and getting large amounts of data done quite quicker compared to how Xero would handle those transactions.
Nadine, is this a question for Willem Haarhoff only, or can Celeste also answer?
Celeste can also answer that question, because it is related to AI and machine learning as well.
Right, perfect. And so I'm going to give each 60 seconds. Willem, because it was directed at you, you go first. Your time starts now.
Thanks, Nadine. So I want to start off by saying that Xero was the first accounting solution or platform that went with bank feeds. They've also been the first that's done direct bank feeds or direct integrations. So they're leading the pack there. QuickBooks and Sage followed Xero as far as that functionality is concerned. In terms of the question about the efficiency, the matching and the cash coding, in my view, it's not an issue. We achieve great levels of efficiency with both those features. There is a setting in the cash coding bit, by the way, I don't know when last you were looking at that, where you can actually see all the items that are matched in cash coding. So I'm not 100% sure I understand that question, but certainly that's not an issue.
Thank you, Willem. Celeste, you've got the same question and we'll give you the same amount of time. Start the clock.
Yeah, I think I agree with Nadine on the issues that we've had with Xero. To be very honest with you, I've completely moved away from Xero in the last 8 months. And one of the reasons was, was these issues that we had with the bank feeds. If I just go in terms of Sage, we've got auto entries, and then we've also got mapping rules, and you can also split transactions. So it really, really is great if you do those mapping rules once. Most of your allocations, your monthly allocations are done. So a lot easier than Xero.
Thank you for that last one specifically. Nadine, because you have the chair, you have the option to pick up a comment on some of those answers if you so choose.
Okay, so one comment I'd just like to say that would trump both of them in regards to banking is I'm going to put a little bit of an example out there. Let's say you have a transaction that constantly occurs, such as MTN or Telkom, right? With QuickBooks Online, you do not have to set mapping. It has such amazing machine learning that if you allocate it once to telephone and internet with standard rated VAT, the next time it sees MTN or Telkom, it will automatically remember that you chose telephone and internet. So it will already suggest it to go to that. So you don't even need to set up rules or set up mapping. It already remembers it for you without you even trying or doing anything. So that is the power that QuickBooks has. And that really, really gives an end user so much of power and ability to do books on their own, where an accountant can just go in and review the books for them.
Oh, sorry, Nadine, thanks so much. I think I understand that question better now. And so what I want to say that no one in the world can actually claim a monopoly on how AI and machine learning works. It's exactly the same technology that sits behind all these apps. And you've got the same functionality in Xero. So in fact, on the bank reconciliation screen, when you code a transaction for the first time, the next time that transaction comes in, it will automatically suggest those answers or those codings exactly the way you've described. No differentiation.
Thank you, Willem. Celeste, would you like the opportunity just to put your 30 seconds in as well?
No, I agree with Willem on this one.
Wonderful. I love it when the industry gets together and agrees. Now for the last rotation of this particular section, before we go into closing comments, and audience, please stay in tune because I'm going to ask you to vote on a poll that our organizers have created, which will float after closing comments to ultimately see what this whole thing was about and understand who the audience believes is the winner of today's software showdown. But before we get to that, let me ask Willem for his question and let him pose it.
Thanks, Willem. So Nadine, Celeste, thanks once again for the opportunity to have this lacquer discussion with you today. My question to you is as follows. You've both beat the drum quite hard in how cheap your product is. I think, Celeste, you also then later on said you've actually changed your nomenclature from accounting software to accounting platform following the leader. And you then made the comment that the moment you get into integrations, you should no longer, or that's what I heard you say, you should no longer look at the cheapest option. You should now have a value versus price discussion. So on the one hand, when you talk about your accounting solution, you're only worried about how cheap it is. But the moment you want to scale, what happened to cheapness? So can you please help me resolve that contradiction in terms?
That is a tough question and a very clever punt of own pricing structure at the same time. That's the debit and the credit all in one. I'm going to ask Celeste to go first, and because it's complicated, I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Start the clock.
Cool. Okay, Willem. So I think when I speak, because we're speaking a lot to business owners here, we're speaking to guys that are converting or starting up. I think, you know, price is important. Price is also important in these stages that we are in at the moment. I think I've never been in agreement or disagreement, but we all have platforms, you know. I think all of us have different ecosystems that we use. Our clients can choose different ecosystems that we use as well. And for those plugins that you decide to use, you will, you know, pay for those. But when you're paying a $40 and then all these plugins, you know, we have to be sensitive to price in these times that we face ourselves. Thank you.
I like bringing the these times angle into it, because I think there's a lot of companies that are currently dealing with that as an issue. It's a very, very real issue. So nice pick up there, Celeste, on a serious note. Nadine, you've had some time to think, and we've come to expect great answers from you. And so with that, your clock starts now.
Okay, so QuickBooks Online is not a cheap product. It just offers great deals to accountants to offer to their clients. So I can't say it's a cheap product. It just offers value to their accounting partners. Along with that, they also offer specials like 5 for 100 Rand, for 5 for 500 Rand, sorry, for a year of packages. So what they're trying to do is just get people, because they're new in South Africa, they're about 3 years in South Africa, they just want to get people known to the product and get people used to it, and they want to get accountants more used to the product and get accountants to get their users onto it. So the best way to get an end user onto a product is get your accountant onto the system to get your end user on there. So pricing is not really an issue. It's not a cheap product. It really has so many features, so much of value added services to it. The amount of conferences and events that QuickBooks holds can outweigh the prices that it charges. So it really is about value adding, and the amount of integratable apps that adds into it, a lot of it is Rand valued. So we need to look at what country we are in, which is South Africa, and the software that you're using is actually able to charge you in Rand, and they're looking at your situation.
Thank you very much. Willem, would you like to pick up on any one of those for a 30-second round?
Yes, please. Thanks for re-emphasizing your pricing structures. I just want to say that at DoGetters, when we engage with our clients, we are not resellers of Xero, because we don't see it as an accounting software. The discussions we have with our clients is how can we best provide them with insights. Whatever tools we use, they don't really have to worry about it, because we give them a value-based billing that they're willing to pay for, because they know what they're getting for it. So we never, ever engage with them and what money we can save them on an accounting solution. That's not a strategic discussion, and that's how we normally approach and believe clients perceive it as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Willem. If you don't mind, just because of our timing structure, I think that is a wonderful closing comment also. I'll give you another 15 seconds at the end. But then, Celeste, with that in mind, as we head towards the voting of today's endeavor, can I ask you for your closing comment in 45 seconds? Your clock starts now. Okay.
So if you want a product you can trust, choose Sage. If you want a product that meets all your compliance needs for an SA market, choose Sage. If you want a product that's simple to use and understand, choose Sage. If you want a product that won't break the bank, choose Sage. And my wish for all business owners out there, if you want your business to grow and be successful, choose Sage, because the sky's your limit. Thank you.
Thank you, Celeste. I'm hearing choose Sage as the predominant theme. Can I ask Nadine for your closing comment in 45 seconds? Your time starts now.
Okay, so I say QuickBooks Online is the #1 accounting and business solution for your business. It is a global company worldwide. It is in so many different countries, so many different continents. Every day they are moving into a different continent and country. They are, at the end of the day, looking at how they can help you grow your business and help you make your business succeed. So why not partner with them to help you grow your business? It's all about getting started, having the right system that will help you grow. They've got every software has amazing features, but why not go with the software that will grow with you? As you grow, they grow. You have one price with all features. You don't have to pay anything extra for anything you need.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nadine. And coming to a rapid end there. Willem, because I kind of stole it out of your hands, you've got, I would say, 30 seconds for any additional closing comments that you would want to make, and your clock starts now.
Thanks very much for that. So unlike QuickBooks and Sage, you don't need a university degree to use the product. You need a lot more training with those solutions. Xero is just a lot easier. And as I said in the beginning, it enriches human-to-human communication. It humbles the accountant. It makes the client win. And that's what it's all about, winning for the client. So from my side, thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity.
Wonderful. To the participants, this has been a rapid fire and entirely new style endeavor for me. I think you've equipped yourself extremely well and represented even better today. So thank you very much for your willingness to subject yourself to some gloves of software showdowning with a twist. Our organizers in the background have let me know that the poll is ready, and so I'll ask for that poll to come up. And while it does, I'll ask the attendees or the audience, please take a moment, have a look at the poll and cast your vote so that we might determine who has won today's software showdown with a contemporary twist. While this is happening, I'm sure it will come up on screen. There we go. And I'm sure that I will get the results any second now. Part of the purpose associated with OnlineX is to enable SMEs, business owners, people that conduct the business themselves, to find tools and make selections that help those businesses grow. And what a wonderful initiative it has been for me to be a part of. Thank you very much to the organizers, and being able to stimulate some real quality food for thought as regards entrepreneurship, building of businesses that will ultimately create value for consumers and employ people, which is so very important in this country. All right, and with that, I think I've waffled enough now in terms of getting the results of the poll, and I am desperately looking for where I see what those actual poll results are. Here we go. All right, and so in third place, we have Sage. Oh. Thank you very much, Celeste, and congratulations for coming in third. And then on the QuickBooks versus Xero, if I could reveal to you that the margin was extremely thin, but edging out with 2% higher than the 36% garnered by Nadine is Willem from Xero, who has today won the, I would almost say celebrity showdown, but it is not. It is the software showdown. All right, that's it from us, ladies and gents. We would love some feedback from you. If you have for us on this particular format, the quality of the conversation that we've had today, and of course, how we've tried to tease out some hopefully funnily equipped, but still important pieces of information for you to facilitate decision-making with. To the participants, again, thank you very much for your time and subjecting yourself to this experiment today, which I think has gone pretty well. And to the organizers for living this purpose of enabling business owners to make quality decisions around how they run and ultimately grow their businesses. My name is Willem van der Post. I hope to see you again soon sometime. Have a happy and safe set of holidays in South Africa, and save the time to reconnect with your friends and your family, and stay safe. Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
You started when they said, I corner win. You fixed home haircuts and dye disasters. And with QuickBooks, you're in the know. Even when the world turns upside down, you dollar what you must to make that cash flow flow. Because you're small business tough with the advantage of QuickBooks. Save time with QuickBooks Smart, up-to-date business insights so you never have to slow down to make informed decisions. Learn more at quickbooks.co.za.